I am holed up at the Sleep Inn near Lexington, Virginia. And one of the things that I'm doing while I'm here is just really reassessing everything that's in my pack. So some of the key things I have, starting with my sleep system, I absolutely love my quilt from Underground Quilts, and I believe it weighs about 1.5 pounds. I started the hike without a dry bag for it, but got a little concerned in the Smokies with so much rain and cold, so I went ahead and had that sent to me, and it's a little over 3 ounces, so I wish I didn't have to have it. I don't know if perhaps I could switch it out with a Cuban fiber sack that would be a little bit lighter. I'm going to look into that and see if that's worth the extra expense. But overall, very happy with the quilt, so I don't want to get rid of that. I've got a silk sleeping bag liner, which is very comfortable and pretty lightweight. I love my Climate sleeping pad. It's the insulated light. It's a good size. It weighs 19 ounces, and I've done a little exploration to see if there's something else I could get that would be lighter, but I haven't found anything that would kind of meet the criteria of a wide pad for a side sleeper with the insulation and that sort of thing. So I love that, love everything in my sleep system, so really don't want to change that unless I find something that's dramatically different. And I do still have my little piece of Tyvek. This is smaller than the pad, but I stick it underneath just for added insulation, especially if I'm sleeping in a shelter. It kind of keeps the dirt off and protects from any drafts and that sort of thing. I sent home my beloved second pillow, which was 6 ounces, so I sent that home from Four Pines. I still have my ultralight cocoon pillow that's about 3 ounces in a silk pillowcase that makes a big difference for me because this nylon gets pretty sweaty. My pack cover, this I got off Amazon. I call it my most useless piece of gear. It's full of holes at this point, and it's going to go out. But instead of replacing it, I'm going to try a Frog Togs poncho, which is about the same weight. This, if I remember correctly, is about 3.5 ounces, and I believe the Frog Togs poncho is the same. So I'm getting that from home, and we'll just switch it out, and hopefully that'll keep my pack a little bit drier. If not, I'll ditch it and come up with another solution. My bug net I have yet to use. I just had it sent to me recently because the gnats were so bad, and I may end up getting rid of that too if I don't use it. It's, I don't know, maybe 1.5 ounces, 2 ounces. Z-Seat, best $15 I ever spent, so that's not going anywhere. It's very handy to sit on. The tent, love my tent. Don't really have any issues, and you can see from the exit I picked it up at an REI garage sale. It's lightweight. I've got a polycryo ground sheet that's working well, and tent stakes, so that stuff's not going anywhere. TP is essential. I've got my little extra TP and my trowel. I need that for cat holes. This is a little bit of a luxury. It doesn't weigh much, but when I can find it, I pick it up in the travel section because I do get dry skin, especially after I shower and shave. This is helpful to have, so I don't carry that all the time. I'm carrying it right now. A few Q-tips, some water treatment tablets, and I thought I'd actually accidentally gotten rid of those. I wanted to treat some water for a stream, and I couldn't find them, so I was happy that I found them later, and it's worth carrying just a few for those occasional times where you need to treat water in addition to filtering it. This I carry in my hip pocket. I've got sunscreen, bite stick, and bug spray. I've needed bug spray a lot lately. The bite stick I didn't start with, but I had some pretty nasty bites that were just driving me crazy, so I've picked that up. Sunscreen, some of you will yell at me, but I don't really use this, and I think I could drop it, but I'm not sure. These are just leftovers from home. They're exfoliating wipes, and they're very handy, especially in those days that you get really dirty and dusty. So slightly on the heavier side, but when they're gone, they're gone. I'm not going to replace them. And then I do have dry wipes in here as well, and those you just put a little bit of water on and can wash up with them. Those are not essential either. I've been finding when I was out of these and didn't have them, they came to me in a recent resupply box. I would just use my camp towel, and that worked out pretty fine. So this whole little section here is something that I could probably go ahead and get rid of once it's used up. Toothpaste, toothbrush. I didn't cut that down, but it was a folding travel brush, and I just took the cover off of it. And some dental floss, which I find I need sometimes. I carry just a few anti-diarrheal stomach things just for emergency situations. I take a lot of Aleve, and this is primarily the Benadryl and the anti-gas. I don't need the gas pills very often. I'm kind of surprised, but I might be able to get rid of a few of those. And then this is Advil, which I don't take very often because they leave. So I could maybe squeeze out 1 ounce of pills here. And this is salve that I got from Carrie, the shuttle driver in Marion. She gave it to me, and I've been putting that on kind of any sort of scrape I have. Again, this is something that once it's gone, it's gone. A tiny little bit of super glue, which I needed to use on my shoes, and I used it all up, and then I got this in my next resupply box, so that was good to have. Aquaphor I use instead of Neosporin because I can put it on chafing, I can put it on dry lips, I can put anything like that. So that's worth the wait. And then I also carry a tiny little bit of deodorant. That is the Dry Idea that lasts for like 3 days. So I put it on after I shower at a hostel, and I've also found it works in a pinch instead of anti-chafe. And I ran out of that anti-chafe, so I've been using that right now, and I'm hoping to get that refilled in the next day or so. I also carry IVX. This is a calamine-based lotion, and I need it when I got some poison ivy the other day, and it helps a lot. I did get rid of, I'm sorry, this is Ivarest. I was carrying IVX, which is a pre-treatment that you put on like a barrier, and I got rid of that because I wasn't using it. For water, I carry 2 smart water bottles, my Vecto, my filter, and the tube, and my hydration. The little bite valve broke, and I've got a new one coming to me, so someone has suggested that maybe I just switch and have a dirty bottle and a clean bottle for water, and just drink out of, attach the Sawyer to the bottle and drink that way. But the way my pack is, I can't really reach my bottles, so I love having the hose coming just right under my chin, and I drink an awful lot when I'm on the trail, especially like recently when we had this heat wave was terrible. It was great to be able to just drink all the time. Let's see. This is kind of essential. I could switch it out for a super light headlamp, but I like this one. It works well. It's got the features I need, so I'm happy with it. But I don't know. I might be able to save a couple ounces. This doesn't weigh too much, but I know they make a super, super lightweight one, so that might work. This is my wallet. It's pretty stripped down. I just carry what I need. Hand sanitizer, compass, thermometer, whistle, safety item. And I had 3 knives. I finally pared it down to just one, and I kept the Swiss Army knife because it's got tweezers and toothpick and knife and all kinds of stuff, so that's handy. Since it's summertime, I am not using my pee rag. It's clean, and I've used it as a sweat rag, but I don't use it as a pee rag. I do have my Go Girl, which is much more convenient when I'm wearing shorts, and I can just go real quick without having to take my pack off, which is nice. I carry a journal and some pages from AWOL. I also have the full AWOL guide on my phone, so that's helpful in a backup. This is like my little tent bag, and this is clipped to hold my glasses on my head. Glasses cleaner rag, which sounds like a luxury, but I find that I do need it because I get really, really dirty. I don't need 3 ponytail holders. I could probably cut them down to 1. I carry the extra carabiner because I've had a few of them break, and that just happened to be an extra one, so instead of sending it home, I kept it. Earplugs I've needed lately, especially when the birds start at 5:30 in the morning. Safety pin, mirror I tried to cut down at one point, but I couldn't. And so this is all stuff that I just put in my tent and I use every day. This is for my feet. A friend sent it to me, and it replaced the plastic golf ball that I had, which is lighter. This is, I want to say this is about 3 ounces, but it's kind of rubbery, and it works well to roll out my feet. So I wish it was lighter, but I don't have a lighter alternative, and it's working, so I'm keeping it. Let's see. This is a knee brace. I sent home my knee straps, but I keep this one, and I've been kind of alternating on my knees since I've had a little bit of trouble. I carry just a very minimal amount of first aid, a couple Band-Aids, a needle, some dental floss in there that I can use as thread, tiny little bit of moleskin, and a tiny little bit of KT tape. And then I've also carried this lamb's wool, which comes in very, very handy for blisters. And I've had some terrible chafing on my back and on my shoulders from my pack when it's been super sweaty or wet. And this is good padding to protect against that. I also right now have a little bit of stretchy tape. Some of this is on my foot, and that's the extra, so I'm just hanging on to that. This rag I use as kind of my placemat, cooking, that sort of thing. It comes in handy. I might be able to live without it if I just went to this rag, but actually things get so dirty that I like having them for 2 separate purposes, and this I use up to wash up at night when I don't have the dry stuff, the dry wipes, and then this is good just for kind of kitchen chores. Of course, I've got my chargers, my backup charger, my regular charger, my headphones, and that's it over here. On the other side, I've got a little bit more for my cooking and food system. My food bag is not in here, but this is for freezer bag cooking. It's maybe 2 ounces, and it's helpful in terms of saving fuel. Again, probably a non-essential. My titanium spoon, my Bear line, which is Dyneema ultralight cord. I wish it was a little thicker because it does sometimes hurt my hands when I'm pulling, but it works. I switched the MSR pocket rocket stove, and I don't carry the case. I just put all this in a Ziploc. I've got a lighter. I've got some, these are emergency matches, but they also come in handy if you're doing a campfire. So again, that's something I could probably live without. And the rubber band ended up in my pack as an extra. Again, I don't have to have it. It could go. We're talking grams here, but I know it all adds up. I'm carrying a large fuel canister. This rag, I get these in my resupply boxes and I throw them out when they get nasty. And I've got my little cozy and my handmade lid for my pot. This is an 800 milliliter titanium pot, and I just ordered a smaller one that's 550 because I never fill that thing up. And I think I'll save a few grams that way. I will have to switch to a smaller fuel canister and replace it more often, but again, that will save me a little bit of weight. I carry some Dr. Bronner's for doing dishes, and in a pinch I can use it when I need to wash up if I'm really dirty, need to wash my hair, whatever. And then I've got a bag that all of this goes in, and it doesn't weigh much either, but I think that I can probably get rid of it and just throw the cooked stuff in my food bag, and that'll save me a little bit. This bag is my clothes bag, and it also serves as my town bag when I'm running around and just need to throw a few things in when I'm in town. So that's handy. It's not waterproof, but it's really, really lightweight, and it serves a good purpose, so I like that. And then as far as clothes, my lightweight fleece from Columbia I love, and surprisingly I've been even wearing that a lot in the summertime, so would not get rid of that. I have not sent my hat and gloves home. I haven't needed them lately, obviously, but when it gets cold, and I know it can get cold kind of suddenly, it did a couple nights this week in the tent. It was down in the 50s, so if it was down in the 40s, I would have one of those for sure. So those I'm just carrying with me instead of sending home. I've pared down my socks. I started with 2 sets of hiking socks, and now I only have the 1 Smart Wools, and then this extra pair I usually use for sleeping in, but they're also backup if these are real wet and I just need dry socks, then I'll put those on instead. I carry 2 pairs of the Injinji sock liners. 1 pair I literally wore through on the bottom, so I just replaced those and got this newer pair, so I've got 2 of those. My Columbia hiking pants I actually do wear, and when I got really, really bad chafing in my shorts, I was able to wear these. I've lost enough weight that these are getting a little big on me, and I'm going to get a new pair sent to me in just a few days. And then my sports bra, which obviously I'm normally wearing, and a couple pairs of underwear. I'm going to ditch one of those and just go down to 1. My wool shirt, this is for sleeping in or hiking when it's cool, and these shorts, which I love, but again, I've lost so much weight that they're kind of hanging on me, but hopefully they'll make it through the hike. And then tops, I have this tank from Patagonia that's lightweight, dries fast, and I was hoping that I could hike in it and send the bamboo one home. It takes longer to dry and it's a little bit heavier. But wearing that shirt is when I got so chafed on my back because my skin was exposed to the back of my backpack, and I was just sweating so much that I got a really bad raw spot on my back. So I think that this one's going to go home, and I'm going to stick with this one even though it's a little heavier, or possibly switch it out for a lightweight Columbia t-shirt that will dry fast. So I'm going to sort that out and get down to 1 shirt. And then I'm still carrying my rain jacket. That's the Outdoor Research rain jacket, and my Patagonia rain pants. Both of those are great for wind protection, especially when it's cool. The rain pants are awesome if I'm wearing leggings and the wind is cutting through. So I'm carrying both of those. Don't plan to get rid of them. And I also don't plan to get rid of my puffy. Surprisingly, I'm not wearing that as much as I thought I would because I'm wearing the fleece more often. But since I got rid of the pillow, I'm actually taking the puffy out of the bag, and if it's not cool enough for me to be wearing the fleece, I just stick it inside the fleece, and that kind of makes a pillow for me. But I know as soon as it starts to get cooler, I'm going to want that down puffy. So not a whole lot to do with the clothes, but a few pieces that I can get rid of, and would love to hear from you all if you have any suggestions on ways that I can continue to lighten up. I've been shaving little bits and pieces as I can, as I mentioned, but I'd like to get my pack as light as possible, but still not get rid of the things that help me to be comfortable, like the sleep system. That just, sleep is so important, and I like being able to sleep well. So I don't want to make drastic changes there unless I can find something that's dramatically lighter that still meets some of the requirements that I have. But your suggestions are certainly welcome. And one last thing that I should have mentioned is that you probably noticed that I'm not wearing my hiking clothes because I'm wearing a town dress. And I got this at Woods Hole. I negotiated it with Neville that she would give it to me as part of my compensation work for stay. I love having it. It's great to have in town, but it's a little heavy. So it's going to have to go, unfortunately. And I'm hanging on to it till after I go to Florida for the surgery that I mentioned. Not my surgery, but my loved one's surgery. And need some things to wear while I'm there, but then I'm going to ditch the extra clothes that I don't need. So that'll be just a couple more weeks that I'll be carrying it, and then it's